Hey guys, welcome to my first video drum lesson. This is something I've been wanting to do for some time now, and I'm really excited to start posting drum content online for you guys to check out. Since this is my first lesson on here, I figured what better topic to cover than probably the most important fundamental of drumming, hand technique. I'm going to be covering the basics and going over both matched grip and traditional grip, and I'll have some really useful exercises thrown in throughout as well. So whether you're a beginner who's just starting out on the drums, or you're someone who's been playing for a while and you're reevaluating your technique, for instance, there's going to be a lot of good stuff in here that'll help you out. Now, before we start breaking down the grips, there are a couple of points that I want to address. First, there really is no right or wrong way to do this stuff as long as you're focusing on two things. One, economy of motion, and two, control. Playing with minimal effort and maximum control is always the most important goal for hand technique. How we achieve that physically is a little different for every individual player. Don't worry if your hands don't look exactly like mine. We're all built differently and we all play differently to some degree as well. If your way is relaxed and controlled, you're on the right track. That leads into the second point. It doesn't matter which grip you play with. There is no such thing as a best grip. If you play with matched grip, you can do all the same things as you can do with traditional grip, and vice versa. I recommend learning and practicing both. It just gives you more tools to work with, and you'll start to develop preferences as you play. For instance, I discovered that for me personally, I tend to prefer traditional grip overall, and especially for things like ghost notes and lighter figures. But I definitely prefer matched grip for playing anything open-handed on the drum set, meaning that I'm playing with my hands open like this rather than crossed. I also sometimes switch over to matched grip if I'm playing heavier stuff, or if I'm just in a matched grip kind of mood for that day. It's really nice having both options and being able to change it up whenever I feel like it. With those things out of the way, the first thing to talk about with hand technique, ironically, is not the hands. It's your body positioning. Before you pick up the sticks, you want to make sure that you're sitting in a position that is comfortable and will augment your playing rather than hold it back. So first things first, you want to be sitting up nice and straight. Don't lean back too far or lean too far forward. You definitely don't want to be slouching. Make sure that you have good posture. So you want to keep your arms and your shoulders nice and relaxed. And when you bring your arms up into a playing position, you want them running straight down along your body. Don't have them too far back or too far forward. And you want your forearms to be pretty much flat or maybe even angled downward slightly. You also pretty much want a straight line running down your forearm and down your wrist and your hand. And that will also determine how high your snare or pad should be. Typically, it should sit somewhere around your belt line or your belly button, something like that. You also want it high enough so that you're not smacking your leg with your stick when you're playing on like the rebound or something like that. That might also require playing with your seat height a little too. The other thing you want to make sure of as far as your body positioning is concerned is that your arms are out away from your sides a little bit. You don't want them pinched in against your body. Keep them out away from your body slightly, and that'll help you to stay relaxed. So now that we're in a good playing position, we'll look at our first grip, matched grip. Matched grip is without a doubt the most widely used grip among drum set players. It's been around forever, and it's really intuitive and versatile. So how do you do it? Start out by holding out your hand in a relaxed, natural position. You'll notice that my thumb is angled up slightly in this direction. From here, we're going to take our drumstick and grip it between our thumb and index finger. This is our fulcrum for matched grip. You'll want to grip the stick about a third of the way up. That will vary slightly depending on the drumstick, but for most of them, it's going to be in that position. That's where you maximize the rebound of the stick. It's kind of like a seesaw, sort of. You have to find that right spot. Now, some guys will grip the stick between their thumb and their middle finger instead of their index finger, and that totally works too. It's up to you if you want to try that route. I've always used the index finger, and it works great for me, but use whichever you prefer. Now, once you have your fulcrum, you want to curl the other fingers around the stick, but keep them loose. You don't want to grip the stick really tight. You want a nice, loose, relaxed grip. Now, one thing that's nice with matched grip is it's symmetrical. So everything that I've been talking about with the right hand, you just do the same thing with the left hand. It's nice and easy. And once you have both hands in that position, you've got your playing position for matched grip. The very first exercise that you want to start with to familiarize yourself with matched grip is simply bouncing the stick on the pad. We'll start at the top for this one. Keep your wrist and fingers relaxed, and you basically want to whip the stick down and let it bounce all the way back. And you want it to more or less travel in a straight line. You want to repeat that over and over with each hand. Focus on staying relaxed so that you can get a full rebound. What you don't want to have is something like this, where you're gripping the sticks really tightly. You can even hear a tone difference as well. Even just hitting the pad, the tone is very choked when you're gripping the stick like that, versus if I have a loose grip. You want to keep working on that until you get to the point where you can comfortably get a consistent bounce with each hand. Now we'll take a look at traditional grip. Traditional grip can be a little trickier to get started on because of the different positioning of the left hand, but it really isn't anything to get intimidated by. Real quick, I'll be speaking about traditional grip as a right-handed drummer. If you're a left-handed drummer, simply take what I'm talking about and apply it to your right hand instead. Traditional grip was invented back in the day as a solution for marching drummers in the military. At that time, marching drums were worn on a sling that went across the chest, and the drums were worn on the side of the body. So it wasn't very practical for them to play in a match grip position like this, so they adopted an underhand grip, which became traditional grip. Now the drums flattened out over time, but the grip stuck around, and as it turns out, it works great on modern drum sets too. To get started, hold out your left hand as if you're giving someone a handshake. From here, you want to insert the drumstick into the crook of your thumb. And just like before, you want to find the sweet spot where the rebound is going to be the best. And again, that's about a third of the way up the drum set. This is the fulcrum for traditional grip. This is actually where we're going to start with the same rebound exercise. Really, most of what we do with traditional grip comes from just this. This is also what tends to be the trickiest thing for people when it comes to learning traditional grip. The wrist motion is rotational rather than the up and down that you get with matched grip. That's something that you have to get used to. It's this, not this. Okay, so same thing as before. You want to start at the top and whip the stick down and let it come all the way back up. And you want to make sure that it's traveling in a straight line. You want to repeat that until you're comfortable with this motion and you're getting a consistent bounce, something like this. Once you're comfortable with this position, we'll start adding the fingers. So first, you want to curl your ring finger and your pinky in under the stick. Typically when you're in your resting position like this, your stick is going to rest on the first knuckle of the ring finger. And when you're playing, these two fingers are mostly going to stay out of the way. They don't have a huge role to play in this grip. It's the same story with the middle finger. It's actually not going to move at all. It's going to hang out right out here and just stay out of the way. Finally, we're going to curl our index finger around the top of the stick so that it contacts somewhere around the first knuckle. This is the playing position for traditional grip for the left hand. Now that we have our grip established, we're going to do the same rebound exercise as before, except with the fingers involved this time. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start at the top again, and as we swing the stick down, the index finger is actually going to come out away from the stick so that it can rebound back up and then close back around it at the top and catch it, so to speak. You want to keep repeating this until it's easy to get a consistent bounce with the fingers involved. And you'll want to get used to catching the stick with your index finger. It's very important to remember to keep a nice loose grip on the stick. Don't grip it too tightly with the fingers. You don't want something like this. Keep it nice and loose and relaxed. Now that we have both grips established, there are a couple of really good exercises that will help develop your hands. I'm going to be demonstrating these with traditional grip, so if you're someone that's using matched grip, all you have to do is just mirror what my right hand is doing on your left. So the first exercise we're going to look at is actually very similar to the one that we've been doing before. The only difference is we're going to snap the stick back into the initial playing position after each stroke. So rather than starting up at the top, we're going to start down here in the usual playing position and also end down here. That will look something like this. When the stick is bounced back, what we're doing for the right hand is using our fingers to pull it back in to the starting position. For the left hand, it's similar, but we're using the thumb and the index finger to pull it back. You want to take this exercise very slowly and deliberately at first so that you can get the motion down. You want to practice this exercise repeatedly until you get to a point where you can bounce the stick and snap it back into the starting position all in one smooth motion. For the next exercise, we're going to introduce some timekeeping as well as some interaction between the hands. You'll need a metronome for this one. What we're going to do is play 8 rebound strokes per hand and repeat. You'll want to start at a nice slow tempo where you can really focus on the motion as well as the timing and the volume of each stroke. You really want to make sure that you're getting nice even strokes and that you're lining up with each metronome click. If you find that you're having trouble with this, slow down the metronome some more. As you become more comfortable with this exercise, you can bump up the metronome and work yourself up to higher tempos. This is one of those classic exercises that will always be useful no matter where you're at with your drumming. I'll demonstrate the exercise at a couple different higher tempos. It's really important that you play at a tempo where you can stay loose and maintain good control. Don't worry about the speed. If you focus on relaxed hands and control, the speed will come, and it'll come more easily. Start nice and slow and gradually work up the tempo. That takes care of the basic hand technique stuff. The things that we've gone over will give you everything you need to build a great foundation. Just keep at it and be patient, and you'll have yourself some great hands. All right, that does it for this one. I'll have some more lessons coming up with different topics for you guys to check out in the near future. Please like if you did enjoy the video and subscribe for more music content. Until next time, keep on drumming.